recording. And what is up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Headman. I am one of your hosts, the meatiest meatball I've ever fucking seen, Mr. Adam Garcia. With me, as always, my good buddy, my compadre, my fucking compatriot, dude, Mr. Andrew Harris.
Welcome, everybody.
Alrighty, dude. Sweating. I was sweating so bad. Well,
Very dogginess.
sitting there, I was like, dude, I don't know if I can make it, dude. Make that much of a mess if you're still in my apartment, but I was like,
No, let's not make a mess tonight.
no, let's not make a mess Sunday or make a mess Wednesday for those of you that are actually listening, because it comes out on Wednesday. Dude, it was I don't know what the fuck happened.
Sometimes it happens.
Plus side is that, man, the Reddit that I'm on is absolutely fucking kicking, dude.
Yeah.
It's kicking. I'm 273, down from 280.
Fuck yeah.
I'm also like still getting stronger, like because of the fat oxidation and ATP production that Reddit does and helps you with. Dude, I'm not so much like I'm recovering faster, and it like my CNS is still being able to fire, and that is fucking fantastic. We're gonna keep on going. Hopefully by the time I hit 270, I'll start to like kind of like back down just a little bit and just kind of like, I'm still gonna use Reddit, but I'm gonna like actually push my calories just a little bit.
Yeah, try to eat a little more.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a pretty incredible little peptide.
It's a. I really like it.
I'm thinking it's the future. It's the future. Like you don't even have to take it for the weight loss. Like you can do a small microdose and fucking just for the gut health, I'm saying ATP, all that other stuff it does.
Oh, very
beyond just the weight loss.
Yeah, it's definitely gonna be one of those things that we talk about in depth when we get Kelly on here. Now, today's episode, I kind of want to start just a little different before we go into it.
Okay.
All right. It's something I want to talk to you about. It's because it's like, I saw this one influencer, right? And they're a
Lonnie word.
Oh no, they're just a regular influencer. But they're a personal trainer, and they like, I didn't save the post, but like I saw it, and it was like basically alluding to them, like them sleeping with their clients and stuff like that. And it was like, it was obviously, I would assume it's a joke, but like, I'll be honest with you. So like, I wanted to start with just a little bit of pee the fuck up, just a little bit, because I mean, mind you, I'm married, right? And what two consenting adults do is great. However, if you're planning on trying to make personal training, coaching, just your overall job and brand, why would you sully that with trying to get with your clients? Because one, it just makes you look bad.
Oh, I got introduced to it when I first started personal training because I went to 24-Hour Fitness, which 24-Hour Fitness has somewhat of a reputation of it. You know, a lot of those trainings there. And yeah, it was absolutely very prevalent there. You know, I mean, our fitness manager was one of the biggest ones that was doing it.
Oof, dude.
Yeah. But the problem there is he was good at selling.
Yeah.
So they kind of like turned a blind eye to it, even though everybody knew it.
Oh yeah.
You know, so it was one of those situations. It's like, well, he was moving. We're not going to anything. But yeah, it was going on there, and it was like, that was something when I got into this. I said to myself, I'd never cross that line, because it's your profession.
Exactly.
It's like, that's not a good look. Like, if something develops between two people, like say you are training them, like be like, look, if we are going to go down this route, I have to then not train anymore.
Yeah.
I can't. You have to keep that separation between personal and professional.
Exactly.
Like it does get a little blurry because as you get even just as friendships develop.
Yes. I agree.
You spend a lot of time with these people, so you become friends. You get to know people really well.
Yeah.
So even on that line of like the friendship line, but like to take it to that another level, because the other part too is I think a lot of, especially guys, they'll take advantage of the vulnerability of somebody coming to you in that situation of like, hey, I need help. I want to lose weight. I don't feel good about myself. And then like you start to help them feel good. And so you take advantage of that situation.
Yeah.
And I think
Exactly.
that's where it really gets disgusting is like, and then I've had plenty of experience of like the people that ask for it all. They're like, all right, well, I need like your checkup photos. So you brought names or something like that. And so
Yeah.
you don't need that.
No, you don't. I was even telling one of my clients just because I wanted to feature her on Biggest Bully of the week. I mean, she had 2 jaw surgeries to realign to fix and realign her jaw. And built in the time that we've been working together again, because she took some time off and then came back to it. Man, she's stronger. She's looking better. She feels great, right? And I was like, if possible, can you send me 2 before and after? And I went, please understand, I do not want anything inappropriate. Please understand, I do not want anything that shows like anything like bad or anything, but just something so I can feature you and be like, let's give this girl her fucking flowers for fucking putting in the work and getting back to where she was. And she was like, oh yeah, absolutely. Now, mind you, if it's my male clients, unless
Take it out.
no, I see what you've done. No, with that being said, that's a joke. Please understand that we keep things I like to keep things very professional. So do you. Mainly because again, it's like this isn't just a thing we like to do. We make money off of this. We try our hardest to keep as professional as possible because one way or another, and this is what a lot of people don't understand, is that like, I'm not saying that like, oh, you shouldn't do it because what do people think? Well, no, it's obviously for your own personal moral thing, compass and stuff. But it's also too, it's like all it takes is someone else to hear that and be like, oh, well, yeah, I heard that he kind of like flirts with his clients. And then now you're not getting clients anymore because their boyfriends or husbands are uncomfortable with them going to see you.
Well, and one of my big things is there's a lot of women that are afraid, who's afraid, but they're not sure about coming to the gym because of, one, they're not confident in themselves, and then 2, they don't want that harassment, other stuff. So there's already a barrier for entry for especially a lot of women to come into the gym. And then you're creating even a worse environment for these people to where they're like, and like, I want to create that space where it's like, no, like you should feel comfortable to come here. I want you to be yourself and feel like, okay, like this is a safe space I can come to. And like, now I can focus on just the workouts and like getting better and not like, all right, am I going to get harassed today? Or am I going to,
Exactly.
So like that was a big thing for me, was like, I want to create a space where like, because I want people to come to the gym. I want people to feel good about coming to the gym and not have to worry. Yes.
Yeah, that's a good point that you actually made just right now. Is that like, for the most part, it's already, very hard for women to step in the gym. Exactly. And let me also put in the fact that it's like now they probably do get hit on at their workplace. They get probably hit on every place else. Now you're going to come into the gym and try and work with a personal trainer and they're hitting on you as well. Like that's not a good look. And it's the same thing I feel that same sentiment is that if I'm going to be working one, male or female, I don't really give a shit. I just want you to perform. That's it.
Yeah.
I also I want to see you get better. And that to me is way more fulfilling than anything else. And it's like for them also too, to be able to have that, like you said, safe space and be able to feel comfortable enough to trust me. I don't feel right about like ever even doing that. I mean, obviously this is coming from a point of like, if I were single,
yeah.
I'm married. So any of the females that try to come at me with coaching, understand I'm not going to touch you with a fucking 10-foot pole.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love my wife very, very much. Now, with that being said, that it just really got me because like I saw it and it's like immediately reactive because it's like, dude, come on, man.
Yeah. We actually, I was at STS yesterday for the competition. I was helping out, and there's a guy that came up asking about membership and personal training, and he was specifically. So it also goes both ways because this was a person looking for a personal trainer, but he was asking about, all right, do you have any female trainers? And then he like even asked like, are they open to dating their clients? It's like.
Ew, dude. That had to have been.
But it's just like the sad part is there's a lot of it. There's a lot of those people that want to take advantage of those situations, and it's like there's spaces for that where you can pay for what you want. Like do that. Like at least it's a mutually like, but don't go into a space that isn't meant for that.
Golly, dude. That's mind.
I really don't like. I think that was the first time that he'd come to SCS to ask about the stuff, or he called before. It's so weird. Like there's so many weird people out there.
There are,
and that's like the big thing for me is like I want to make a space that everybody feels good to be in.
Oh, of course, and it's and very easily to weed out the
you want the good culture. You want a good culture.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
Especially in the gym that you create, because that's what matters. That's what keeps people there is the culture.
Yeah, yeah. When Diego was still alive, he used to call this one Asian guy submissive and breedable. Do you think that fits your? Do you think that fits your?
Diego was Diego. No, Diego.
Fucking miss that guy so goddamn much. I'm sorry. Oh. I still remember that day, dude, because we're sitting in Kelly's office and he looks at this dude. He's like, I know this guy. I'm like, oh, that's cool. And he's like, you're so submissive and breedable. I'm like, bro, stop. What the fuck? I miss that guy so much. Anyway, okay, so let's get into the meat potatoes of this episode.
Yeah.
Coming off of that.
What type of meat are we talking about here?
Arms.
Like,
yeah.
So sausage.
The tip.
Just tip.
Oh, just tip. Now. All right. So we clocked in last episode with the Russian and Bulgarian style of training.
Yeah. That's fun.
It was. I enjoyed it. Now, the reason why I chose Russian and Bulgarian style training is because Russian and Bulgarian style training was the precursor, if not the foundation, the daddy of the method that we are going to go into.
Daddy and mommy, and it birthed
this particular method.
Yes.
Born from the mind of Mr. Louie Simmons out of Westside Barbell, none other than Conjugate, the Conjugate method. So we first started getting learning about different variations and stuff like that. This is back in the day of 1967 when he was in the Army, right? The original Westside Barbell was actually not owned by him. It was out of Culver City. in somewhere. I can't remember exactly the state. I apologize, but it was owned by a
Culver City.
I think so. There's a Culver City in Nevada too, but I don't think it's there.
Yeah.
But anyway, the original Westside Barbell was owned and run by a group of guys. One of them being Bill West, nicknamed Peanuts. Yeah, Bill Peanuts West.
You gotta love the old
Dude,
names.
it's so funny.
Like,
But there were a lot of big named lifters. But the reason why Bill West has such a huge has a huge influence on Louie is because Louie pulled a lot of this guy's variations. He was the first to start doing rack pulls. He was the first to start doing deficit deads, and he was the first to incorporate box squatting. Right, and that is where, like, just doing those type of variations, Louie was able to actually get really, really strong.
yeah.
But now he started to read a lot of books on the Soviet Russian or the Soviet and Bulgarian style training back in 1972. This system was developed by constantly rotating exercises, right? So let's go over what we do know already, just from everyone who knows what conjugate is, right? You have your max effort, lower, max effort, upper, your dynamic effort,
Dynamic effort. Yeah.
and both upper and lower. Right? There are two different types of conjugate, right? There's the conjugate that Louie created, and then I'm going to talk a little bit about the and it's because and Matt Lenning kind of went into it a little bit on Westside versus the World, and he actually ended up getting kind of, I hate to say it, he got kicked out of Westside because him and Louie didn't see eye to eye on a lot of that stuff. But he started to realize that, or he started to notice that that your body can only handle a certain intensity or a certain weight for 3 weeks before it starts going backwards.
Yeah.
Right. So, or if you handle weight above 90% for 3 weeks at a time, you'll start to go backwards. So, in every max out for Louie's version of conjugate, it was in 3 week waves, right? And you used one singular bar for those 3 weeks. So, and when you were doing a max effort, you were going 100% or above, right? Mm-hmm. And that was, again, that was part of the Bulgarian style training that he actually pulled from his books. And
Yeah.
And then he actually stated something that I wanted to go off of because so I'll read you the quote. He says, "The body will react to the demands placed upon it." Now, that's a great quote.
Absolutely.
Where that originates from is actually the Wolff's Law of bone growth. Right?
Yeah. Well, so, yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah. And for those of you that don't know what Wolff's Law of bone growth is
Basically, if you don't use it, you lose it.
basically, and it's also too, it's your bone structure, your skeletal structure will adapt to the stimulus placed upon it. Hence the reason why when you do a lot of resistance and weight training, your bone density actually goes up higher because it knows and it's used to being able to move heavier weight. So now the skeletal structure has to then change in order to adapt, in order to abide by what we place upon it. So
Yeah.
Louie also had a very great quote, and I really like this, is strength is measured in time, not weight. Right? In
Yeah.
a sense that where I took of it was like, it doesn't matter how strong you are right now, or it doesn't matter how much weight you're moving right now. How long can you sustain your strength, and how long can you be I hate to say, how long can you be in the shit before, you know what I mean?
Yeah. 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 There's a couple of, so like, I always like to tell people that, cause it doesn't, just like have, like, what was the quote? The first one?
The body will respond.
Yes. So what I like to tell people, because this applies to multiple areas, not just into like strength, but also weight loss, everything else, is your body is going to respond to the signals you're sending. So I always like to think about it as signals. So if you're not eating enough, you're telling your body that there's not enough food available. So it's going to then respond accordingly. You know, if you're lifting heavy, it's going to respond accordingly. If you're running a lot, it's going to respond accordingly. So it's going to make those adjustments because the body's always trying to survive.
Oh, of course.
That's its main goal. That's the only thing it knows how to do. You know, the mind, we're able to do a lot of voluntary things, but the body is always going to try to survive first.
Yeah.
So you have to think about the signals you're sending to it, you know, so that's why it's so important to make sure you're doing all the correct things, because if you're sending it conflicting signals, it's not going to respond the way you want it to respond.
Exactly.
If you're trying to get stronger, but you're also only eating 1,000 calories a day, well, that's a conflicting signal.
Yeah.
So you have to send all the right signals in the right direction to get that adaptation that you want.
Exactly.
So that's a big one I like to tell people, that, you know, you got to be thinking about everything you're doing and what that's telling your body. If you're always sitting in a chair, that's sending a signal to your body that this is how you are, and so it's going to adapt to that.
Exactly. And so actually, that's funny that you say with the word adapt, and that's one of the biggest reasons why Louie Simmons did not believe in the Western style of progressive overload and the linear progression. And it's because over time, if your body learns to adapt to a certain style of training, then it will, almost in a sense, he believed, it'll stop giving you the results that you want.
Absolutely.
And so that is where he came up with that's where he got with the Russian stuff, the rotating bars, is because in a sense, your body can't get accustomed to something that it doesn't get a chance to get accustomed to, I guess. But so with that being said, here's another thing is, and this is why I'm always like, whenever coming to like programming Conjugate, I'm always like, whoa, geez, how do I do this? And it's like, I used to feel like really bad because I'm like, that looks good. That looks good. Until I actually sat and I listened to an interview with Louie Simmons, and he was like, he said this: I have no plan. I'll just walk in and go, I'm going to work on this today. And then that's what he worked on. Yeah. And it's like, I mean, obviously it worked, right? Now, mind you, here and there, it depends on, obviously, with the fact that, like, let's bring into the fact that, you know, if you're on steroids, then it obviously that extra added recovery did help as well.
Yeah.
They talked a lot about how they placed 72 hours between each max effort. So this way they got the amount of time to actually recover. And that's actually something very Russian as well. They gave them a lot of volume, but they gave them enough time to be able to recover from that. Mm-hmm. Now, everything worked in 3-week pendulums. There were no deloads. All right. So, and if you were a geared lifter, and mind you, gear in his world is different from gear in our world. So gear in our world is steroids, but gear in his world is like full squat suit and all that shit, right? Yeah. So if you were a geared lifter, your 3-week pendulums for like dynamic effort would go from 55% to 65%, right? So 55, 60, 65, right? But if you were completely raw lifter, it would be 75, 80, 85, right? And again, 3-week pendulums. And then once that 3-week is over, right on the 4th week, he would immediately switch the bar, and then you would then you would continue on.
Yeah, so you go from like a straight bar to SSB to Duffalo.
Exactly.
To adding bands, adding chains, all those different variations that you can do with the squat or deadlift or bench.
And more times than not, so like one of the big things that Louie was really big on was, again, the board pressing. He was very into a lot of like how he can build his accommodating resistance. So he was big on using chain with band as well. sometimes even so much as using so much band tension that it was bending the bar as you were trying to use it. But again, it was like, obviously it was that, you know, that seems very extreme, but at the time, you know, he was kind of like a very big pioneer of utilizing band tension for accommodating resistance.
Well, and if you think about band tension, makes a lot of sense for equipped lifters because it's the resistance kind of matches what you're getting from your suit.
Exactly.
So like in the hole, you're getting the most out of the suit. So it doesn't matter as much if the weight's heavy because it's mostly going to be the suit. And then as you get up to the top where the band resistance gets heavier and harder, that becomes more of you. So now you're doing more of what you actually need to be stronger at.
Exactly.
It's kind of interesting that it works out that way.
No, I mean, it's the truth. I mean, but that's why Conjugate was so heavily utilized by geared lifters because it was designed for geared lifters. And then now, mind you, it was also too that like during those times as well, this was when Matt Wenning started to come on, right? Let's talk a little bit about real quick on the dynamic effort portion. So for squats, he believed in like obviously dropping the sets, but as you're dropping the sets, you're increasing the amount of you like not even just increasing the weight, but also increasing the amount of accommodating resistance.
Yeah.
So it'd be like week 1, you're doing 12 sets of 2 at that would be 75% with 120 pound of chain.
Yeah.
One, that's a lot. And then week 2, it's 10 sets with 80% with 140, and then so on and so forth, right? And it was, and again, he believed that the amount of power and speed that you put into the weight will cause you to also lift heavier.
Yeah. And that was one of his big things was not just being powerful, but being fast and being explosive.
Yeah. So the thing that I really, really enjoy, personally for me, what I really enjoy about dynamic effort days is I love because it was something that Dave Tate talked about a lot, as well as Louie Simmons and all them, is that they utilized their dynamic effort days as well for GPP. Wow, I just shat the bed brains. Anyway, sorry. So they would utilize their times to be like, okay, so I'm going to move this as fast as I possibly can, take a break for maybe 45 seconds to a minute, and then do it again. Yeah. And it's like, it doesn't seem like that much. A lot of people are like, well, it's only 12 sets of 2, but it's like 12 sets of 2 of fairly subaxial weight. Yeah. Over a period of time that was like.
Well, and you think about it though, you're not just, it's not about the weight because you're still putting in as much effort as possible.
Yeah.
You know, it's because I think when we think about lighter weights and stuff, we're like, oh, we're just going to go in there and do it, move it. But no, you went in with the intention of like, I'm going to move this like it's a max weight. I'm going to put that much tension and effort into it so that it moves explosively. And that's kind of the big difference that you think of if you think of like, okay, I'm just doing 50% today. It's not just 50%, it's 50% at maximum effort.
Exactly.
You know, so it's a lot more fatiguing than you think. And then, yes, you're doing it repeatedly with short rest. So you're going to fatigue by the end.
Yeah. And I can see the thought process of it. Being able to move the weight as fast as you can. You're going to try and recruit as many more units as possible. Yep. And then that intention will then turn towards your max effort when you do it next, the week after, to then like push towards that and apply it. So this way you can actually like try and punch through whatever sticking point that you have during your max effort. Now, during the time that Westside was doing like a lot of their meets, they were the most dominant. Yeah. Matt Wenning was a part of this, and he started noticing that so during the time there was like an AM and a PM shift, quote unquote, during that time. And the guys that were training with Louie right? Because at one point they were saying too that like at one point like they had like shift leaders almost in a sense that Louie was sometimes just there.
Yeah.
He wasn't actually coaching. It was a lot of the guys that were like, if you showed up and you were new, you were following another person that was like, okay, come on, we're gonna go do this, and you're like, okay.
Yeah, it was more like one of the guys had what they needed to do today, and everybody would just join in. And it was like, you're doing whatever fucking dictate is saying we're doing today.
Exactly. But you started noticing that like one part of the day was actually, if not stagnating, they were actually like getting injured. But the shift that Matt Wenning was a part of, no, they were killing it.
Yeah.
And it was because Matt Wenning had found he had taken Louie's Conjugate and then changed it slightly to be able to accommodate for recovery. He made it to where recovery was the number one most important thing that you're doing, right? And so how did he do that? The first one is that he implemented non-negotiable 4th week deloads. So every 4th week you would go, like Louie, he would do 3-week pendulum swings, but the only difference is that on the 4th week, it would be a deload, right? And that was huge because that allowed everyone to be able to catch up and recover.
Yeah.
You weren't utilizing the drugs to be able to, to try and push your recovery and then into just.
Well, even with drugs and stuff, like you still need to recover.
Exactly.
There aren't miracle drugs that like make you just superhuman. You still got to recover, especially when you're pushing max weight, which like you got to understand. A lot of these guys were squatting near 1,000 pounds or more.
Yeah.
So even at 70%, it's still 700-800 pounds that they're moving.
Yeah.
So it's a lot to put on your body constantly.
Yeah, I agree. Now, the biggest thing also too is that he actually implemented something that he used for his geared lifters, which was at one point or during their off season, they actually trained with no gear. They trained completely raw, and then like into prep they would train medium gear, so they would have like even the briefs on or something else, and then towards getting into the meet prep and peak, they went full gear.
Yeah.
Now, going into that, the 3 weeks on, 1 week off, that was Matt Wenning's thing, but he also too implemented to where your max effort days did not go above an RPE 9.
Okay.
Right. So with Louie's thought process was, no, if you're going max effort, you're going 100% or above.
Yeah.
Right.
Because he was big on like every time you came in, you were trying to hit a PR.
Exactly. But with Matt Wenning, he was like, you do what's in the tank at the time. If you know, okay, that was a struggle, I could go a little heavier. No, go hit your accessories. And that in itself was something that helped keep a lot of the guys, safe and non-injured. And Louie kind of heard about it, and this is going off of what I remember from Westside versus the World. Louie heard about it, and he was not happy about it, and he was like, "No, you're following full what I say, or it's nothing." And then, or you can leave. And Matt left and went and did his own thing. And
which is interesting because I read the book. I read Louie's book, and he does talk about, he does have in there that the deload week, and I don't remember if he had it's been a couple of years since I read it, but yeah, I don't think he mentioned anything about the max effort days being not 100%, but he definitely had in the deload week.
Yeah.
In there.
Yeah. And now,
so I wonder if that's something like later on he kind of like, oh yeah, this is good.
This is good stuff, actually.
Right.
Well, from what I heard is that like later, and then obviously from listening to a lot of like Matt Wenning's interviews and podcasts and him talking about what it was like after that. Before Louie Simmons died, yeah, him and Matt were still on good terms, and he actually reached out and was like, "Hey,
yeah,
still thinking about you," which is honestly like,
yeah,
that's pretty nice. You know what I mean? it just goes to show that like again, it's like, yeah, okay, Westside Barbell, they're known as like some of the like roughest, toughest dudes or whatever, but like Louie Simmons was not like, from what I can see, though he was pretty rough around the edges, and he was very much like, I want performance, and that's what I want. Yeah. I still feel like, deep down, he had a huge caring for a lot of the people that, that came through Westside. And that goes to show too that like pretty much that's just powerlifters in general.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he took care of a lot of these guys. Like,
Oh yeah.
gave him a home.
The breakfast spot that they would go to. Do you remember hearing about? Do you remember that?
I don't know if I do.
There was so they didn't. It was the first ever time I heard about Westside Barbell was from an interview that was it not The Wire? It was a YouTube company or whatever, and they went out there because they were like, we heard that you guys are just a bunch of drugged up powerlifters. And he was like, we're here for the, and it's like, no, the first time I ever heard of like, and they were like doing like a circa max day or whatever. And it was like, they were getting ready for a competition and stuff. And they talked about Louie Simmons but I think it was like every Sunday morning or every weekend morning or something like that, Louie would take them to this specific diner.
Yeah.
They would have breakfast together, and then they would go and train.
Yeah.
And it was like, it became such a huge tradition, right? And like, there was a lot of dudes that came through, and there was a lot of dudes that would go. They still remember that diner place because they would talk shit to each other while they're getting ready to go train. Because he even said it too. It's like the strongest dudes. A lot of these people, you're training and you're kind of seeing a lot of the strongest dudes that you're about to compete against on the internet. No, the strongest dude you're about to compete against is right over there. You know what I mean? And it was like, I do get that way sometimes because like right now, like though me and Keith are in like way different body weight standards, it's like to me, whenever I go into the gym, I'm always like, I have to keep up with that. So I'm gonna try and keep up with that.
Yeah, it's on the desk.
It's the truth.
Yeah.
Like, oh my God. But with that being said, now let's go into a little bit about like the principles of it, right? So we talked about max effort. We talked about dynamic effort. So let's talk a little bit about the variations, right? So variations, they're constantly changing. So the issue that I'll say right now that I have whenever it's keeping track of what variations. Like, I'm not gonna lie to you, there have been times where I've been like, wait, did he do that? And then like I have to go back 2-3 blocks and see if they did it. And they've done it. I'm like, oh, so okay, and then let's try it again. But if they did it last block, I'm like, no.
Well, so part of the variations though is it wasn't just always random.
Oh yeah, yeah.
There's usually a purpose to the variations in that, like, if there's a weakness in the lifter's lift, you can attack that weakness with a certain variation. So that was part of it too, was like, all right, figuring out, okay, where do we need to improve to make this lift better? And like, all right, what variant can we do to get them to be better?
Yeah.
So that's where also it comes into, is not just like, all right, let's do box squats this week because we feel like it, No, it's like, all right, like you're having problems, getting out of the hole. All right, how do we attack that with the variant? So there's that part of it too, of like, you can use Conjugate to attack your weaknesses and get stronger. So that's kind of part of it, is figuring out where do we need to get better.
Yeah, and honestly too, and that's something that like I used to have a little bit of a gripe with when it came to like, because there's pros and cons to everything, right?
Of course.
The cons of Conjugate is if you're not specific enough, then you're not going to be able to gain the amount of progress or even like hit the amount of stuff that you're talking about. So like, take for instance, there was one thing that I noticed. I was like, okay, well, like I have a really big problem with this, but we hit this variation that really helped, But then after that, it's like, once we did it, you change to a different variation.
Yeah.
But it's like, no, you can change the bar, but keep the variation, right? You know what I mean? Now you're just changing the stimulus just a little bit. So like, take, for instance, imagine doing like a low box squat with like a regular bar, and you're like, okay, we did this, sick. Now do it with the SSB. Now do it with a camera bar. You know what I mean? It's like, or now do it with band tension.
Yeah. So there's a lot of different options of like, all right, the box squat is the main one we need to work on. We need to get better with what the box squat's giving us. But now we got 5 different types of box squats we can do.
Exactly.
You know, or you change the variation of like, all right, I want you to like fully sit down, or I want you to touch and goes on the box. Like that's the variation, you know?
Yeah.
So there's a lot of different options there. You just gotta get a little creative and just changing it up slightly.
Exactly. And so now when it comes to your dynamic effort, right? Now going from your max effort into your dynamic effort, you could utilize that same bar and that same variation, but now you're utilizing. So Louie believed that, God damn it. Louie believed I really need to stop eating like just before I come in and start doing this, because like,
Makes you a little gassy.
a little bit, I'm like burping up my fucking burrito. God damn it. I mean, it tastes good. But like, so Louie believed that the biggest thing is that if like 50% across the board you should be able to move that at the same velocity each way.
Yeah.
So I take, for instance, if your straight bar squat is 500 pounds and your SSB is like, I don't know, 450, right? If you cut those two in half, you should be able to move both of those at the same velocity, right? And that was actually, I thought that was really, really smart. Personally, I know that for a fact that if you try to move weight, whether it's 50% or not, some will actually still like take out a little bit of your like thoughts. Like I could squat, to me, half of my squat in a regular bar is like close to 400 pounds, about 350. But like on an SSB, if I get like even with 50%, it still changes the lift just a little bit. So I really have to be a little bit more cognizant of what I'm doing. But I mean, that's the truth. But what makes it even harder, what makes it even better, is the adding of some sort of accommodating resistance.
Yeah.
Now, for raw lifters, you don't have to have accommodating resistance.
No.
Or actually for any lifter, actually.
Yeah, you don't have to. You
don't have to.
Like, if you're doing, you can do pause with it, you know, or something like that. It doesn't have to be. Or you just like, all right, I want to practice some lift. So you're just doing the lift at 50%, and then you're just trying to move as fast as you can.
Exactly. Now, the biggest thing is that everyone always talks about your max effort, your dynamic effort, and everyone's like, oh, that's conjugate. But there's also another part. I couldn't really find too much on it because I couldn't find someone actually like talking about it or anything written. But there's the repetition effort, right? Or the volume effort.
Yeah.
And the volume effort is basically what you would get out of your accessories.
Yep.
Right. The only thing I could really find, which was something that someone I follow very, very heavily, his name's Dr. Seth Elbersworth. He talked about it a little bit, and he talks about how it is your accessories should be done in a sense of you trying to get as jacked as you possibly can, right? So your repetition or your volume effort is something that should be put toward, that is usually pushed towards the accessory movements, and it's actually like, it's there for, again, your shortcomings or your flaws in whatever lifting, but also too is it's just there for, again, just to hammer whatever body part that needs to come up, basically.
Yeah.
Now, going into that is for raw lifters, right? Because if you take conjugate for what it really, for exactly what it is, you're doing like box squats. You're doing a lot of box squats, doing a lot of stuff that will definitely help you if you utilize powerlifting gear. But you can still utilize conjugate to make yourself a very strong raw lifter. So this is something that I learned from watching, again, Seth Alversworth's videos on it, and watching a lot of other people do their videos on it as well. And the big thing is that you, like, a lot of times, a lot of the variations that Louie came up with were fairly complicated sometimes. Like for raw lifting, you don't complicate it. Keep it as specific to what you're doing as possible, right? And just like you said, you find your variations that are going to hammer your issues the most. Like, take for instance, the one variation I really like to utilize with my clients is a very low box squat, right? A below parallel box squat, but also understanding. And the reason why is because if you suffer from the hips shooting up first as you're trying to get out of the hole, right? So it turns into kind of like a stripper, or like kind of like a good morning.
Yeah.
The low box squat is there to want to slow you down, to give you a stopping point, but also too, it gives you a point to be able to find, like, get your position and drive from the floor, but also keep it within the quads.
Yeah.
Right. So you can also make those variations to where it's like, okay, so a low box squat. Okay, now it's 3 second tempo down with 2 second pause, tempo pause, box squat.
Yep.
And, or if you want, you can add accommodating resistance to it. And there's a variation right there. But again, it's the point of that is again, to hammer, trying to keep within the quads. And this goes also to show that you have to have that communication with your client too, because you can't just be like, go do this and then expect them to
Understand what it means.
So you have to be able to hammer into it that, hey,
It's the purpose. Why are we doing this?
exactly. Now, also too, very simple. All you're doing really to build your if you're trying to build out your own raw, quote unquote, conjugate style method, is think about it in 1 week, move something heavy, move something sub-maximal fast. And then after you're done doing that, go into the gym and move your accessories with some sort of volume and trying to get jacked and juicy.
Yeah. Yeah. So like a few things on that. Louie was big on short workouts. So he was big on, you try to get your workout done within an hour. Because his idea is thought process, and it is backed by some science. Your testosterone spike you get from working out is the most within the first hour. After that, it starts to really drop. So you're getting the most out of that first hour. So he liked for guys to do their accessories separate from their main lifts, so you'd come in maybe twice a day if you did. So that was kind of an interesting part of it. So if you can, and actually it's supported by a lot of science, and that, like, because you think about the amount of calories you gotta burn through to do your main lifts, to then have to go in and do the accessories, you probably need to refeed in order to continue to perform at a high level. So that's where splitting it up into two is very advantageous, because you can eat, recover, and then go finish off for us a workout. So there's that. And that was the main thing I wanted to say.
Yeah. So to add on to that, he talked about that in one of his interviews. It's the serum testosterone, right? And he actually quoted Bulgarian style training, and it's because they would do like 12 workouts in a day, and it was because just like you were talking about, after a certain amount of time, like it would just became too rough on the body. But they would do one main lift in the morning, and then chill out, do another one in the midday, chill out, and do another one in the evening, like early afternoon. And again, he talked about it's because after the first hour, your serum testosterone dropped, and then after that, it's just fucking, it's poopy.
Yeah.
It's poopy dog water. So that's funny that you actually, I completely funny that you actually brought that up. And now what I would like to say is, in a perfect world, we could do that.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh, absolutely.
And it's like, and if you can't, I agree. If you can do that, dude.
Yeah, you can lift twice a day. Like, you're gonna get the most out of that. Like, cause I noticed it when I'm in there for a couple hours. By the end, I'm just like kind of just moving the weight, which, like, you know, it's usually accessory stuff, so it's lighter. It's not as hard. I can still do it at a very high level,
Yeah.
but it's not as optimal as what it was in the beginning. And then also his thing too was trying to move through the main movements as fast as possible too, because also you're getting your I'm drawing a blank on the words, but basically you're improving your overall fitness, so you're getting in better shape. What's the term for that?
Increasing your GPP, general physical preparedness. Hell yeah.
So now
General physical preparedness.
so that was a big thing for hitting weight. And you know, that's kind of the modern powerlifter, like kind of the joke is like, all right, I get done with the lift, now I can pull up my hammock and go take a nap for 10 minutes before I go to my next lift. And then like, no, he was big on like, you were rotating in and out of these lifts as fast as possible. Like you were getting through everybody as quick as possible. And you weren't getting 10 minutes to recover. And it was like, all right, let's go.
Yeah. Which is rough. I'm not gonna lie.
Rough. It works, and you are in better shape, and you're able to handle the demands of competition.
Yeah, because I can tell you, like, since I started changing my training style in order to fit that of ABS, I've been bringing down my my rest periods, right? And I can tell you right now, just from doing that, like, I'm in way better shape just from doing that.
Yeah.
Also way more destroyed because of it, but it's okay. Now, so the biggest thing that when it comes to raw lifting, or if you're trying to or if you're trying to incorporate some sort, now mind you too, it doesn't have to be full on conjugate. I think this is the issue that a lot of lifters end up falling into, is that like, oh, well, I do conjugate. I do
Only conjugate. Yeah.
My brother in Christ, you can branch out. You can do other things. There are other positions other than missionary. You know what I'm saying?
Is there?
Anyway, now, like, take for instance, I think that the rotating of bars and rotating of variations and being able to handle something heavy while doing something light, those are great principles.
Yeah.
To have.
Yeah, I absolutely love that style. The big one is you get more time with that lift. Because if you're only doing one squat a week, you know, that's the only time you're thinking about it, the only time you're doing it.
Yeah.
You're probably not going to get very good at the technique of it. Mm-hmm. So getting in that extra day is huge.
Yeah. It also too brings in, just like what you were talking about, what you were just saying, man, this is why you're the fucking MVP. You know what I'm saying? Is one thing that you guys have to realize when it comes to, especially if you're a beginner to intermediate, now mind you, also too into the advanced lifters as well. I mean, throughout the whole spectrum, I guess. And that is, strength in itself is a skill.
Yep.
One must refine that skill in order to get better at it. You have to practice what you're doing. That's the different, the accessories, all that other stuff. You build the foundation, but when it comes to your working sets and all that stuff, your warm-ups, your back downs, not just your top sets, should be taken to the highest amount of intention for trying to sharpen that blade, so to speak, of trying to get the best that you possibly can. And how that ties into, how that ties into conjugate, at least for this, is being able to strain in the range of motion that will accomplish the most that you're doing. So, again, utilizing your variations to hit and target certain problems. If you get stuck at the bottom of if you see it stuck at the bottom of a bench, pin presses, photo presses also help a lot as well. Even though, yes, you're not stopping completely at the bottom of the chest, you can still, that control of stopping and then pushing through, that's going to help a lot. bench up downs. The variation, the way I told you that the Russians did, or that Poroshenko did, the 3-2-1 pauses, sick, by the way.
Yeah.
They're fucking awesome. I really like it. But and then also too is that like the biggest thing is that because you're not adapting to something, it also keeps training very fresh.
Yeah. Some new.
You know what I mean? Like a big thing that Janessa utilizes with me when it comes to my version of Conjugate is it undulates. And so like this past week, I did pause deadlifts for max effort. The week before that was a straight bar with band tension. So it's like, again, I don't really know what the variation is, but when I get under that, when I pull up my program and I look at it, I'm fucking excited. Because it's like, also too, remember, it's like,
Let's see what I can do.
yeah, because the exciting part of max effort is being able to quote unquote max out, right? You're showing your strength for what that is that day. And the variation is going to call an attention to whatever you're trying to hit, right? But at the same time, it's exciting. It's scary, but it's exciting because again, it's like you're getting to string that feeling you want of like, oh,
I need to get ready. I gotta do this shit.
exactly. Well, we better start moving, right? And then for those of you that are actually like a little bit like, well, very nervous and stuff like that. In a sense, I hate to say it, but Conjugate is actually a really good thing for you because if you're like me who overthinks a lot of stuff and gets very in his head, you can't do that with a max effort.
Yeah.
You can't.
Yeah.
Get to it. You know what I mean? You have to hit an RPE 9. Doesn't matter what you think is an RPE 9. If someone looks at you and goes, could have done more. Well,
All right, fine.
looks like I got to go hit.
That was your deadlift.
That was my deadlift. I hit 738. I was like, I think that's good. And Jen went, no,
We all were like, ah.
no, you got to go heavier. I was like, all right, 760 it is. I hit 760. And I'm telling you right now, I'm glad I did.
Yeah.
Fucking glad I did. Because in my head, again, because I'm learning more because of this fucking podcast. I love it, dude. I'm learning so much more because of this podcast. But it's like the mental aspect of just sitting there. I don't think about anything else. I just sit there and smash this. I'm going to smash this. And I fucking put it through the goddamn wall. And then I do it.
Yeah.
And then I make soup. Sorry. Nacho Libre. But with that being said, do you have anything else to add with this? Because I think
I remember what I was gonna look the other thing I was gonna add to was when we were talking about the box squat. One of the other important parts of it that it does is it breaks that momentum. I can't remember what the momentum type is called, where you're changing direction, but you still have momentum from that change of direction, that going down and up. I remember what it's called in physics, but there's still momentum there. So what a box squat will do is it'll stop that momentum, and that's why it's so good at helping people out of the hole. Is now you're having to regenerate that force in your muscles from that stoppage on the boss.
oh yeah. Now when I did my SSB box squat, I don't remember. I remember hitting the box and being like, okay, now pop. And I was like, I remember getting up. I was like, oh, okay, there it is.
That was hard.
There's the RP9. All right.
That was hard. Yeah, so that's one way. That's one of the purposes to the box squat and why it's good at helping people out of the hole, is to have them regenerate that force and get you stronger get you stronger out of that hole.
Exactly. Guys, I just remember though that like the conjugate system, there's the beautiful thing about the conjugate system is that there's so much information on it right now.
Yeah. It's definitely gotten big. A lot of the guys who learned under Louie are spreading that knowledge, teaching it to others, putting it out there. So it's really cool to see, because it's like it's growing beyond just the equipped, because it used to be just, oh, those are equipped lifters. No, it's growing beyond that. Even Louie talked about it. He trained, track athletes, football players.
Oh yeah.
Like he proved, like, he's like, it's not just for powerlifting, you can use it in any type of training that you're doing. Once you fully understand the concepts of it.
Exactly. One of the big names that I like to talk about the most that does that and has had a lot of success and has actually indirectly and directly helped me is Dr. Seth Albersman.
Yeah.
I'm a huge fan of what he does. For those of you that are looking for any type of like either variations, learning on how to build something that of a conjugate style with your raw lifting and raw training, it has direct carryover, because that's the biggest thing is that he always talks about is being able to choose a variation that's direct carryover to what you're doing. And honestly, just generally really good information. Go check out Dr. Seth Albersworth on Instagram and on YouTube. And then also too, I don't know if you've ever heard of him, because I watch a lot of his videos, a lot of his coaching videos, and that's Alexander Bromley.
The name sounds familiar.
Yeah, he was a strongman.
Okay, yeah.
He's on YouTube, and he is so good. I learned when I first started like learning how to coach and learning how to program, he was the first, like, outside of RP Strength or our RP Renaissance, he was the first one I went and looked at and started really learning how to like actually programming, actually like build progressions for people, because it was like when I first started, again, I didn't really know what the fuck I was doing. Now we're starting there. We're starting to get there. Alrighty.
So this is going to be different. We're going to change subjects. That's something that happened this weekend. I don't know if you saw, pretty incredible. Cole competed this weekend. Did you see that deadlift?
1146.
520 kilo. I mean, this was after the competition. This was like his straps, but he moved 520 like it was. And he totaled like 1154 kg his total in the competition.
What is that?
It's like 2,500, something like that. So he's done 1,200. He did 1,200 with last year, I think, and then this one was 1154.
Damn, dude.
Yeah, the dude's just insane.
And didn't he do it completely raw? Like,
yeah, I think this is raw.
No reps.
I think it's slaves. Yeah.
Oh my god, dude.
I gotta look at what his spot was, but yeah.
Just when you think, like, that's another thing too. Just when you think you're good at something, then you got people like that, and you're like, all right, well,
oh fuck,
I guess I'm not good at this. Like, he's literally doing, goddamn, he's doing totals and numbers that, like,
let's see, quick lift versus slow.
That's what I'm saying. Dude,
that's insane.
I saw his strap deadlift, and it's I hate to say it, it's like, I'm super impressed by it. I don't care. I don't care if it is sumo.
Like,
who gives a shit?
It's not like it's one of those sumos where it's like the weight's barely getting off the ground. No, he's moving it.
Oh,
plenty off the ground.
Exactly. But it's like, for a fact, there's gonna be so many people.
Oh, I saw Thor reposted it, and he was like, "Well, then he can practice conventional, and then he can come to our competition, and we can go head to head." I was like, "Suit to be fucking
dude." Seriously, like, come on, you guys. They're like, it does not matter. It doesn't matter. Yeah, you're still picking something up off the floor. It doesn't matter if it's in sumo. And to be completely honest, I'll put it out there. Put me on record. The only reason why I don't pull sumo,
you can't.
It's because I can't. I'm not mobile enough.
Yeah.
The amount of time that I would need to get mobile enough to be able to pull efficiently in sumo would take longer than me just being like, hey, I was gonna fucking get really good at fucking pulling conventional. I was getting my bass wrong. But it's the truth though. It's like, I mean, take for instance, right? And I know I use him a lot because, well, he's my friend and I don't care. But like Keith Correa, he was a conventional puller. He pulled 770 conventional, right?
Well, it's like I can guarantee you, Colton's conventional is pretty fucking good.
Oh, I wouldn't be.
I can guarantee you.
No, I would not be.
It's the same like Jamal Browner. I haven't seen him. I think he's done more bodybuilding stuff now. But Jamal Browner, like when he did the 500 kg in training, sumo, his conventional was still like 450 kg, something like that. Like that's nothing to.
That's way more than I'll ever do.
So it's like most of these guys that do sumo are also pretty damn good conventional. So then the whole like it's like shut the fuck up.
I would be happy if I can just touch a 400 key. I'd be so happy.
You'd get
I'd
there.
be so happy.
You'd get there.
Nick Forte actually just competed not too long. 804 squat, 518 bench, 815 deadlift. And I saw that shit and I was like, man, congratulations.
Yeah.
That's fucking awesome, dude. 804, one, moved really well.
Yeah.
Like, aside from like his training videos that I've seen where whenever I see him squat, I'm always like, oh my God, please. but like seeing him handle 804 at the USPC meet, it was awesome. 518 moved really well, and so did 815, which honestly, like I saw his deadlift and I was like, dude, fuck yeah. Yeah, fuck yeah. So Nick Forte, good fucking job, dude. 2137, that's awesome.
Yeah, there's some good lifts. There's good lifts this weekend.
Kilo, dude. Imagine, like, because in my head, I'm like,
That's like not even your best day.
it wasn't his best day.
Oh, it's done 1200 before.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah, you just said that. Ah, fuck. Dude. We're going to have to, like, they're going to have to readjust the numbers again. Because I feel like they did that at one point. Like, once there was, like, a certain, like, shift in powerlifting, they revamped all the weight class, or not weight class, they revamped all the records, and they revamped everything so that people can actually start trying to hit these numbers by themselves again. But it's like, no one's touching that, dude. Not for a long time. A long time.
Only weighs like 260. You know? So it's like, that's insane. The
Folks,
strongest fucking powerlifter isn't even over 300.
Yeah. So folks, what's the point? So that's it. This is the last episode.
You've won. You've won, Colton.
Yeah, you win. You win. You've done it. He's definitely like, he's one of those dudes that like he exactly is one of those dudes in like every Soulsborne games that just like gets really, really fucking strong, goes and just like fucking
One hits everything.
Yeah, one hits everything and just fucking that's it, dude.
Like, all right. Well, you know, it's 124. So if he's 6'0", like I think we might see, 2,700 total out of him.
Can I give you a hot take? Hot take. On the contrary, I don't think he's going to be in it much longer.
No.
It's kind of like when you max out, when you full platinum a video game, do you still play it?
Yeah. Well, no, that's the hard part. That's always the caveat to that is like if he sticks with it another 10 years, like you're going to see some insane numbers from him. But it's like he's going to start making more money from just doing social media stuff or whatever. It's like he's like, there's nobody that touches my level of competition, so it's like, why am I still doing it?
Exactly.
Which is the hard part when you're that good. It's like what drives you. So hopefully he has some sort of drive in him to like is self-motivating to like, all right, my goal is to hit 2,700.
Oh yeah.
But or to get 500 and without straps in a competition.
Oh yeah. And then there's also too he from what I heard is he was starting to look into strongman, which is what a lot of people do end up doing is they'll go from powerlifting to strongman or bodybuilding. Honestly, I think if he did, personally for me, I'm glad he's not going towards bodybuilding. Yeah. Just because like nothing wrong with bodybuilding, but it's like in my head I'm like, dude,
you're so strong. Why are you wasting it on something where it doesn't require strength?
Exactly. And it's just also too, it's like, hey man, You'll do that, and then when you come back to strength sources, you will. Everyone goes, oh, we'll squat heavy again. You're gonna realize you're gonna be like, well, fuck, man, like my body can't handle it anymore because of the drugs that I needed to take in order to become better at bodybuilding. Yeah, that's right. I said it.
Yeah,
I said it.
I don't know how well he would do in strongman because he's only 6 feet tall.
Cool.
It's not terrible, but there's not many that are
That's true.
6 feet that are that good in strongman.
Well, is it
As far as like the top level guys,
Well, I think Eddie Hall was only 6'1".
I think he's like 6'3".
Is he?
Yeah, he just looks so short because everybody else is 6'8", 6'9".
That's true. Yeah, that is true. You know who the shortest strongman I've ever heard of? He was 5'11". His name was Dimitar Savetnov. No one knows his name because he was one of the greats, but still, I remember his name. Yeah. I know his name because at the end of the day,
I'm almost there. I did almost do it.
well, yeah, because in my head, I was like, well, if he can do it, so can I. I can't.
Yeah. That's the only thing. That's the only thing that sucks is I'm pretty sure that if he did go to a strongman, he'd probably be good. It's just there's some events that he just would not be able to keep up on.
Yeah,
because of the height difference.
Like the high stone.
High stone stuff. Just some of the stuff that like being tall helps a lot.
Yeah, I remember trying to do keg toss and I couldn't do it because I was too short.
Yeah,
I couldn't throw. I didn't have the amount of power to clear that. Mm-hmm. Would think that as you're taller, you get a chance to be able to like kind of like have a little bit of a higher distance, kind of clear shit.
Yeah,
but it is what it is. I still think that.
But it's insane what he's doing in powerlifting right now. I'm all for it. I want to see.
Dude, exactly. And it's like, I mean, fuck, man.
20 kg in your hands, just lifting it up. That's insane. He's got warning.
Oh, yeah. Oh, of course. I wouldn't be surprised if, like, on the horizon is a 1,200-pound pull.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised because that was 1147, 1144.
I don't know if the math is, but yeah.
Yeah. I would not be surprised if a 1,200-pound pull is in the near future. And if that's the case, then powerlifting is over. We're done. It's over.
There's no reason strength's over. Everything's strength is up. You won.
It's like almost like fucking Red Rising. There's a caste system, and then all the strong people are golds, and we're just all fucking all in the reds. Little reds. Anyway. Alrighty.
That's it.
Good to go?
Yeah.
All right. With that being said, everyone again, thank you so much for all the support, and we will catch you next time.
Adios, amigos.